1-4, east. I need help. Drone attacks. Drone attacks. Please help.
Lütfen yardım edin. Drone atak, yani bir drone saldırısına uğradık ifadesi var.
This is Virat.
Burası Virat
Mayday.
ve Mayday çağrısı var.
42, 37.9. North.
Well, hello, that's me again. Today is November 29th, 2025. It is Saturday. It is after Turkey Day, after Thanksgiving. I'm still alive. And what you see in the beginning, let's make the kind of summary for this past months of November. It's the start of the, pure piracy and terrorism by obviously, the best SOB Europe ever had, apart from Hitler, of course, by the Ukraine, and obviously, and highly likely actually, curated by such entities like United Kingdom, mostly MI6, and France. Those people don't know what war is, they don't know how to fight it, they don't understand the real situation around their, basically what is we can define as the military strategy and operational art. They don't understand this first thing about it in the King's College and the general staff colleges in anywhere, France, United States, or United Kingdom. So what's left? Let's do terrorism. Let's do the blowing up the commercial traffic, and that's what they are trying to do. And let me explain. And this has happened, the attack on those tankers happened near the waters of Turkey. So, that's what they will continue to do. And terrorism, as I already stated, people in London and in Paris would love nothing more than kill more Russians, women, children. That's what they're good at. They're not good at war. But here is the situation which we have to keep in mind. And I've been on it for so many years now, and I will continue to be on it. And I want to start with this statement by actually former ambassador of Russian Federation to London, Mr. Yakovenko. He penned 2 days ago this wonderful article about situation with the let's put it this way, let him speak, so to speak. As you can see yourself, what Yakovenko writes in the RIA News, he says that how the information war against Russia will end. And he correctly states, and he knows England, for example, he was the ambassador there. He's definitely a man with great diplomatic experience, that he was speaking also at the Federation Council of in Russia. And the discussion showed the need to realize that the unprecedented information onslaught that is going against us, Russia, in an integral part of the existential challenge thrown at Russia by the West, military, political, at the level of identity and history. A victory in Ukraine, which already happened, would mean the beginning of the end of the West as a historical and political community united by the common interest of the elites and civilizationally at the level of the worldview hostile to Russia, which is absolutely true. They understand this perfectly well and will fight, as it already obvious, to the last. This is exactly what is happening. And again, what is most important that Russians finally recognize the situation with the, for example, Europe especially, which is the old West, as the majority of population in Europe also has the and exercises views hostile to Russia and Russian people as a whole. And just to demonstrate to you. Yeah, and we know I've been on it for so many times, I will repeat it again. Normal people do not work in modern Western media. Those people are one cell organisms. They don't have integrity, humanity in them. They are, basically war criminals, most of them. BBC is a wholesale war criminal organization. And here is what is the first proof of it. As you can see yourself, that even the Russia the embassy in the UK slams UK press for misquoting Putin. That's what they do. They lie. Anybody from Telegraph, The Times, The Economist, they are liars. As I already stated, those people have no honor. They don't have humanity in them. They are essentially, some of them would, as I already stated, they are war criminals. And so, as British coverage of the president's words on Ukraine was misleading and harmful, the diplomats have said. What are they talking about? They're talking about the Daily Telegraph, which is said allowed serious distortion of Putin's remarks during his recent visit to Kyrgyzstan. He was in Bishkek, obviously, speaking on the ODKB meeting, and his words were effectively doctored. That's what they do. That's what American press do. So, to align with the UK official narrative, the statement on the embassy official website stated Thursday. In particular, he was alleged to have said that it was Russia that intended to fight until the last Ukrainian dies. The actual context is entirely different. The embassy continued quoting Putin remarks word for word. And then there are others, those who will still continue to believe that Kupiansk is somehow back under Ukrainian control and who insist on continuing the fight until the last Ukrainian is killed. Yes, he's talking about the Western elites, which are criminal. They are anti-human. They are actually Western in many respects. And so, Russian embassy in London, speaks what I'm talking about. Normal people do not work in British media. There are no normal people. There are no people who are not whores. Literally, they are prostitutes, most of them. Women and men, I mean, those people, what can I say? If I'll be talking about this tomorrow, probably with George Galloway. And it's not only UK, obviously. Keep in mind, we have, for example, the whole host of the media in the United States, from CNN to Wall Street Journal to New York Times, all of which are under control of either CIA or FBI, what have you. And those people, they also have no humanity in them left. And I will explain why. But here's the issue which we need to keep in mind. And as you saw yourself, Mr. General Flynn, and I quote him, it was yesterday. He stated pretty much what everybody knows, and we'll touch upon it in a second. The loser-in-chief Zelensky, along with his corrupt inner circle, all need to be arrested. Well, I agree with General Flynn. And not only they need to be arrested, we know this. Many people in the Western countries need to be arrested as the war criminals, and some of them outright Nazis. And he says a legitimate investigation needs to be done on the years of waste, fraud, and abuse in the tens of billions of dollars stolen must be recovered and used to help the many families who lost loved ones in this completely useless war started by totally corrupt globalists. Michael Flynn nails it here. Absolutely. And globalists are the West. And so, because West is the main generator of this globalist idea. And so he talks about that America now needs to find ways to achieve peace. Yes, through strength, but peace. No more over there. And for those foreign leaders or individuals who want to take a shot at America while we get our own house in order, just try us. I understand the American Patriot speaks about him, but I doubt that anybody really wants to take a shot at America. Russians generally like Americans. And obviously they have the somewhat idealized image of America, which I remember. It's not there anymore. But yeah, generally speaking, Americans do differ from Europeans for the most part. And so Michael Flynn is absolutely correct that they need peace. But as has been stated already, and I quote in Mr. Putin, that how to put ah, good lord. So here we are. First, you have to understand those 28, 19, 22, 42, 1045, whatever points which Mr. Trump puts forward, they really do not make United States not a co-belligerent and not a party to the conflict, which United States or globalist elites of the United States unleashed. However, Mr. Putin states it. Peace treaty with Ukraine legally impossible at the moment. And so he talks that no draft peace deal exists at the moment. Correct. Anybody who says those 28 or whatever, they changes like weather every day, about those points which Mr. Trump and through the negotiations through Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Dmitriev put forward, it's not really a peace plan. It's a misnomer. It's just, as correctly Mr. Putin states, has only outlined a range of issues to discuss. The Russian leader said on Thursday, and so US President Donald Trump has rejected Ukrainian overtures to meet this week following 2 days of Western European scrambling for a seat at the Ukraine peace talk. Well, Europe is going to be sacrificed. We know this. This is why they are so desperate, and they will continue to kill civilians. They will continue to try to sink their commercial sea traffic and things of this nature. And so only when a peace deal on the conflict is in its final stages, Trump said, he will grant Ukrainian leader his meeting. Well, Trump is beginning to do things which he should have done earlier. And we've been through this before. We discussed it many times, and I can repeat it only for those people who do not remember that he had first, okay, forget about 2 weeks, although he said, yeah, 24 hours. But at least first 100 days of his presidency, he could have done it. He didn't. He made this war his own war, and now he tries to save essentially his presidency, and he tries to save America's face after the catastrophic military defeat. And so let's go and take a look at some parts of this military defeat, which is shaping globally, not only on the line of combat conduct in Ukraine, but truth is, this is the main, so to speak, generator of the new world order, of the new geopolitical reality, and it's happening every day. And let's take a look at traditionally at armed forces of Ukraine losses. As you can see yourself, this is for November 29. Yeah, pretty standard, of fodder. And even some Ukrainian sources now officially said that just the number of the, those necrologs, those notes about deceased amounted to 700,000, not counting people who went missing. Oh my god. And so yeah, it's about 2 millions which are dead, which are killed by Russians. And so here's the situation which is developing in the other interesting thing apart from the Gulai Pole. We go to our good friend Marat Khairulin and Colonel Popov, and as you can see yourself, Seversk, yeah, a done deal. Pretty much, as you can see yourself, completely surrounded, and yet another big time issue happening there. And we will know the numbers of the killed, whatever, armed forces of Ukraine very soon. But what can I say? And if you take a look at actually what is happening on the front, and for those people who do not know, for example, the FABs, Russian FABs, those bombs, and they're with the UMPK module, which allows them glide nowadays to up to 200 kilometers. This is, revolution in military affairs in many respects. And so, as the result, those forces are being pummeled, and when we will know the final tally, it's gonna shake the world. Well, it's already shook the world. It's just that people who sit in London, Washington, Brussels, and they know their fate. They know their fate. Those regimes are not survivable. I'm not saying that something better will come out of it. No, we might, for example, Germany, we might expect even more radical nut jobs coming to power, as you see yourself, for example, from the news today and yesterday. They basically sold people from the alternative of Germany, the only party which can theoretically save at least Germany from disintegrating and turning into the third world. But no, I doubt they will get there. Germans have been completely, well, not only emasculated, they have been turned into complete gray mass of the, beer consumers. They watch Bundesliga. That's about it. This is as much as they care about their country. But as you can see yourself, for example, if we go and take a look at the, obviously, Mr. Orban arriving to Moscow and being treated, obviously, very well. And as you can see yourself, it is Mr. Orban actually in the restaurant, which is across Kremlin. It's he dined today with his delegation and he ate, crepes with the bread, caviar, pelmeni, and all kinds of things. As you can see yourself, people were happy to have him, and he is the one of very few. Well, actually, if you take a look at count them, only two of them, Mr. Fico and Mr. Orban, are real leaders, national leaders. And of course, for Mr. Orban, it is very important to secure the energy supply for Hungary, because Hungarians, they want to live normal life, not unlike most of the Europeans. And so, what can I say? He was in Moscow, and obviously that was discussion not only about the energy, it was discussion obviously of where Hungary will find itself in the next 5 to 10 years. That will be very interesting situations, certainly. And who knows what they discussed? I mean, but yeah, the relations between Russia and Hungary are very pragmatic. Russians don't make any, don't make any illusions about the fact that Hungarians are necessarily friendly to Russia, but Russians don't care. As long as it's good business, good. Let's do the good business, So simple as that. Now, and here comes this issue of the, as we already spoke about the, how to put it, those people who have no clue what they are dealing with. Trump has his fragmented mind, which is, we know now this for sure. He is obviously, we know that he is narcissist, and but look at this, because he is narcissist. Look what kind of statement he makes. Trump admits yesterday that Russian icebreaker dominance. Well, he says that it's ridiculous. I don't know why he says it's ridiculous while it's so natural for Russia that Moscow has now 48 vessels while Washington only has one, the president has said. He's talking about icebreaker fleet. And so President Donald Trump has admitted that US is far behind Russia in icebreaker capacity, noting that this country has only one vessel of this type compared to dozens operated to Moscow. Well, I have news. Moscow operates the icebreaker fleet, which in a size larger than all other icebreaker fleets combined. And we're not talking about the even smaller, port type size, icebreakers made on the, what it's called, icebreaker tugs. No, we're talking about the major vessels with the huge displacements. And so, we only have one in the whole country, Trump said in a call with military service members on Thursday. Russia has 48 and we have one, and that's just ridiculous. Well, that's ridiculous for the United States. But as you already know, that Russians offered in Anchorage, and even before Anchorage, that if United States needs to go and develop its North Slope in Alaska, Arctic waters of Alaska, Russians will be gladly, avail their icebreaker fleet, the only fleet which can operate on that type of the ice. Obviously, American side didn't take it, and we know Mr. Rubio also doesn't like Russians, but what can I say? You know what? It's always good business to offer. If they don't take it, well, so be it. And so what he says, he talks about that Trump said the U.S. is working to narrow the gap by jointly building 11 vessels with Finland, and after that, allegedly they want to build another whatever 39 vessels to bring it to 50. And when the Finns will transfer their good, no doubt about. In fact, is in some sense outstanding shipbuilding expertise, which they will be losing pretty fast. They are already losing a lot of things economically, and the problem is Finns don't know how. Nobody knows how to build a nuclear icebreaker. Period. And nuclear icebreaker, it is the only type of the icebreaker which can operate essentially year-round in the most harsh conditions of Arctic. For example, as was stated by me, and you know this news, I will repeat again, Russians offered United States the icebreaker fleet to operate on the North Slope in those hostile waters year-round to get those enormous reaches of gas, of oil, what have you. The United States declined. But, well, what can I say? And so, by the time there will be those 11 icebreakers, diesel electric, because nobody has any expertise of building this type of the nuclear vessels, if they will be built, it's still not going to address the whole issue. It may kind of make a dent, maybe, but again, we don't know how long it's going to be how long it's going to take to build them. And as already stated, diesel electric icebreakers, while definitely you can build them powerful, still, in order for you to operate year round in the harshest conditions, and the ices, old ice, packed ice, up to 3 meters and even higher of thickness, oh gosh, you need nuclear power and the extremely specialized design. And so only Russians can do that. So, but yeah, United States is not gonna do this with Russians. So it's kind of obvious. And so what do we have in the end? After we kind of take a look at all things which are happening here, we see this. Yeah, this is the Wall Street Journal. This is the one of those war criminals. They are pushing that narrative that, Russians have to be killed and, Russia has to be destroyed, and they supported Nazi regime there. Well, what do you expect from them? So, however, even they report that Europe fears it can't catch up in great power competition. Continent worries it is becoming biggest loser in new era of the transactional politics. Well, first, there is no transactional politics. It's all BS, and it's all bunch of the cretins from Wall Street Journal who have no degree or pedigree in anything related to the actual practical geopolitics. But they are correct. Combined Europe, the old Europe, are losers, and that's where they're gonna stay. And so, but it's not transactional politics. It's Russians try to impose, if you wish, the so to speak, the realistic modus operandi on countries which really matter. Europe for Russia doesn't matter except for as the generator of the threats and hatred towards Russians. So, but yeah, if it comes down to it, it can be turned into the parking lot, or so who can argue with that? If Europe somehow, which there are a bunch of the cretins there which believe that they can fight Russia, such as let's go back to Germany. Look at this. Germany's secret plan for war with Russia. So, Germans are at it back again. So, I think you cannot change you cannot teach their old dog new tricks. So, they want to kill Russians. They want to fight Russia. So, they suddenly released, the military build-up, that it will, they talk about some document that, dozen senior German officers convened at the triangle-shaped military compound in Berlin about 2.5 years ago to work on a secret plan for a war with Russia. Okay, yeah, I think those 30 Leopards and 25 Eurofighters, maybe they will get another 20 F-35s. They scared Russians, to death. Russians are quaking in their boots. But what can I say? This is Germany. And so they talk about that plan that will also hinge on the success of the monumental logistical operation at the heart of Operation Plan Germany that 1,200-page long classified document drafted behind the nondescript walls of the Julius Leber barracks. Okay, I can tell you one thing: German officer corps is a joke. So is their operational capabilities. And then again, listen, even the best of the best, creme de la creme, and some of them were outstanding military leaders. No, not Rommel. I'm talking about people of the scale of Walter Model, of Manstein, of Hauser, and people of this scale. Well, they are spinning in their graves, looking at what Germany has become and what German Bundeswehr has become. It's a joke. It's a joke nation with a joke military. So the blueprint details how as many as 800,000 German, US, and other NATO troops will be ferried eastward towards the front line. It maps the point, rivers, railways, and roads they would travel and how they would be supplied and protected on the way. They will not be supplied and they will not be protected because most of them will be annihilated by the time they get into the assembly areas. But you have to explain to people who do not understand first what modern air defense is and what modern standoff weapons are, that all those plans they can roll them into the tube and shove it up their behinds, because this is all crap for PR. I mean, any German officer, for that matter, any French officer, has no freaking clue about modern combined arms operation and what it takes. They just don't. Neither does most of the Pentagon. They have no reference points. They don't have academic background to grasp it, and they do not even have the basic toolkit to generalize what, for example, the traditional Russian, wonderful military thought, военная мысль, published, for example, in this new issue this month about the changing nature of the combined arms operations of scale. Russians know, Americans don't. So, and Europeans are a joke. And I am not being facetious here when I say it. Literally, you can take the sergeant or NCO from frontline, from Russian armed forces. And yeah, he can go and he will actually make all those, not only colonels, the generals from Brussels, from NATO headquarters, who look like idiots. And it's not only about tactical gimmicks, it is about understanding fundamental nature of the war, which they don't. They never fought anything like that. The last time anybody who fought that war, for example, in this particular case, which in Germany, as I already stated, they were people of the scale of Manstein, Model, Hauser, and other people like that. Guess what happened? Oh, they lost. I love this wonderful, wonderful meme where actually, as you can see yourself, Red Army storming Reichstag, and Reichstag, while you can see they're screaming there that, no, let's negotiate the peace deal, on our conditions. You cannot fix stupid. And again, many of them, well, they are stupid. Basically, generally, European, Western elites are stupid. They have degrees and they are PhD morons with PhDs, but they do not understand how the real world works. And here is a wonderful piece from RT. Finally, somebody addresses this again. I was addressing this in all my writing since I basically opened Salvos on my blog in 2014. And so we have this guy from Russia. Oh no, pardon me. He was Moscow-based, actually, editor, Henry Johnson, who asks the question which anybody who is anybody, including such people of the scale of Michael Hudson, were asking. And then he talks about that the GDP myth, what it really shows and what it doesn't. Yes, it shows all BS which was concocted by all those whiteboard pseudo academics with PhDs in economics from whatever Chicago school, or Ivy League. This bunch of morons who won't be able to actually run the 7-Eleven store without bankrupting it within the couple of weeks. Yet here it is. And he talks about that the history of the issue. A few weeks after the Russia-Ukraine war began, Belgian economist Paul de Gros pinned an article for the website of the London School of Economics. That's a bunch of the academic frauds there, with the title, Russia cannot win the war. No military specialist. Of course, he's not. None of them is. Actually, there are very very many people in Pentagon with the 2, 3, and even 4 stars who are no military specialists. De Grauw based his conclusion on some simple math. Russia's GDP was roughly equivalent to the combined output of Belgium and the Netherlands. Therefore, he claimed Russia is an economic dwarf in Europe. Its military operation was thus doomed. Yeah, we see ourselves how it was doomed. And so he asked, Henry Johnson asked the question. Really, the question boils down to the how does such a reliance on GDP even make any sense anymore? It doesn't. It's all crap. For example, if you look at the economies of the Netherlands, for example, or Belgium, I understand they count in GDP all those transactions they made in prostitution, in drug trafficking, and things of this nature. Oh, evidently, I think casino gambling evidently also gets into the GDP. So you know what? I can put the GDP in terms of the breathing the air, calculate my whatever the cubic volumes of the air I breathe, or any of you, and put the price tag on it. And guess what? The GDP will grow. As I stated for many times, here are the old, now it's even hugely larger, basically gap between, for example, the main economic power in Europe, at least they passed for it, with this ridiculous overpriced cars, overpriced everything, and now they are basically bankrupt, Germany, and Russia. As you can see yourself, yeah, if we begin to look at actually standard of living in Germany also, I can tell you, this is a suffocating totalitarian state, and yes, Germans begin to live much worse than Russians. All Europeans will be much poorer. But I am sure some cretin from the London School of Economics, the bunch of the frauds there, he will come up with a new metric, which will tell you that actually Luxembourg is larger economically than Russia, because this is the only thing they do. Everything combined West does today, it's all reduced to terrorism, PR, and as you can see yourself, but you have to explain to some cretin from, again, London School of Economics, if you compare Russian and German economies even 3 years ago. Since then, Russians ramped up everything into the stratosphere. Yeah, you cannot explain to those people. They do not understand real economics. They are all Wall Street trained shysters. Wolves of the Wall Street. The only thing they know is how to make money. They don't understand what real economy is. None of them ever worked in running anything which produced any tangible which was needed, except for services. Well, not all services are wasteful. We need services. In fact, I admit, I use Amazon, but the problem is, of course, Amazon produces nothing. It produces a lot of traffic, but as you understand, if you begin to consider the only financial side of the issue, you are screwed. And just to give you example, I spoke about it, and for you to understand that United States Navy just canceled the Constellation class frigate. And it's not that United States cannot do this anymore. And yeah, you can read about the story. You can go to my blog, and I described it. It's a beautiful ship, make no mistake. And it's more than 1 billion per hull. And this is the ship which actually is obsolete, or even in the design stages, because it carries same old obsolete weapon systems which United States produces. And it cannot stop anything modern in terms of strike weapons. And as the result, you can use a couple of Onyxes, each of them about $1.5 million, and you can sink this thing. And it's a beautiful ship, make no mistake, it's gorgeous looking. And so they canceled it. Why? I will need to make a separate, actually purely military issue on that thing, so to speak. So what do we have then? Well, we have the month of November, which has passed now. And what can I say? The Russians continue to do what they are doing, and they're doing the best in the world, and expect more hysteria, more terrorism, and it's happened all over Russia. That's what they do. They want, the latest trick is to obviously put some money or some toy on the streets, and Well, one of the kids actually already had his fingers blown because that's what they do. This is their way of war, because they are cowards, they're incompetent and nincompoops and have no humanity or honor whatsoever. And so good riddance with this type of the West. So this is everything I wanted to tell you guys today in conclusion of this month. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford it, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee too. So have a nice rest of the weekend. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.